because some of the things that you were asking were brought up at the town hall where our elected county sheriff was supposed to be there and talk to us about and answer questions that were written, et cetera, et cetera. But what happened was he had to leave because Deputy Solano had been shot, and he had immediately took off to Alhambra to take charge of that situation. And his chief of staff, Lieutenant Delmise, conducted the meeting and answered questions, along with Captain Lewis and a lot of the other officers that were in charge of the different areas. Questions were submitted in writing, and it was really funny because they asked me, they said, "Aren't you going to submit anything?" I said, "Nah, everyone will ask them anyway." And they did. I was amazed. So I just wanted to share with you my notes. Now, these are not, I didn't put these in the order of importance. They're in the order that the questions were asked and the notes that I took. The first one that someone came up with was a discussion about concealed carry permits. Our current sheriff's predecessor was refusing to issue permits. This gentleman said that they would issue concealed carry permits in accordance with state law, whatever that means, and to contact them if they were interested. So I thought that was interesting. But he said that he wanted to increase the number of, someone just mentioned, they said, how many deputies are here? The goal is to increase the number of deputies at our station that are familiar with our area. Because in a lot of cases, we have specific things for that are related to city ordinances that need to be enforced. And sometimes if you get somebody here that's unfamiliar with the area, they're not familiar with that yet. So he wanted to set a goal with Captain Lewis that deputies in our area would have 4 years experience in our area and know what was going on. I thought that was interesting. By the way, you guys can stop me if you want to ask any questions or comment about any of this. There was also a discussion because within the last few weeks, there have been a couple of home invasion robberies. And evidently, when they have checked on it and when they've investigated, they found that it was being performed by people coming into the area from the outside. And that's kind of gone away. I know that those kind of issues, and we had a Canyon Country Advisory Committee person that was the target of one of those, happens to be where the community has where the perpetrators have the ability to get off the freeway, do whatever they're supposed to do, what they think they're supposed to do, and then get back on the freeway and get out of here. So there's some specific areas that that occurs in when it does occur, and but it was just a couple of incidences, and it hasn't been repeated. The thing I thought that was really interesting was that they stated there were 952 current sheriff deputy openings in the county. For some reason, they're having a problem recruiting. I don't think it's for some reason. I think part of the attitude of the public in some cases toward law enforcement has set the situation where they're not getting as many recruits. So they are actively going out and trying to fill those 1,000 positions, and they're increasing the number of sheriff academies from 6 to 12 a year so that they can bring the new recruits on quicker. In a policy follow-up to SB 54, you remember when we had the big SB 54 discussions here, and when we were talking about it when we were talking about it, and the city council had set some things up. From a standpoint of SB 54, the sheriff's department said that they, and again, this occurs outside of Santa Clarita, that it would follow both state and federal law. From the standpoint of the state law, they weren't going to allow ICE to have indiscriminate access to the jail system. But from the standpoint of federal law, if there was a retainer that had been posted, they would turn those individuals over. And they reminded us that because the state law had changed, changing many felonies to misdemeanors, the requirements of who they had to turn over had changed by state law. And again, these are just comments from gang issues in the Santa Clarita Valley? I think you answered that question, Captain Lewis, in the fact that there are some local gangs. In Newhall, there's a Newhall 13, but MS 13 doesn't have a presence here in Newhall. Is that still correct?
That is still correct. They do not have a presence. So we have what we call local gangs. We don't have a gang problem. We have a gang issue. In respect that we have local gangs that are individuals who have grown up in the area. So, for instance, in Canyon Country, since most of you live out here, you remember a few years ago we had Cañones. CNS. Cañones was a Santa Clarita born gang. Since Cañones, we've moved to Brown Familia. So BF Brown Familia is in the area, so if you see a lot of graffiti, which generally you won't because the city cleans up pretty good. If you see or hear anything in regards to that, please let us know. We do have gang issues and concerns, but we don't have gang problems.
Right. So these, by the way, are my notes from the sheriff's town hall.
The very first note he had was about concealed carry permit.
Yeah,
CCW. So as you know, CCW to be able to carry a concealed weapon is something that for many years. So the sheriff's department governs CCWs. It has to be something that is vetted through the department, and the CCW is provided for concealed weapons. There are certain criteria that you have to meet in regards to if you're a business owner transporting a lot of money, other issues or concerns, and the reason why you feel you need it. That goes through the application process. Application process is online. You can access that. You provide all your information. You can submit it. There's no guarantee that it will be provided to you, depending on what the recommendation is or the reason why. They will make a recommendation whether or not the CCW will be allowed to you, permitted to you or not. It has relaxed a little bit with this new administration, and we are moving quicker through CCWs. It used to be you would turn a CCW in, and then it wouldn't come back to you for 4, 5, 6 months. Now there's a faster turnaround. That's what the problem was. There was just a hiccup in the system. So now we're turning them around faster and trying to provide more access to the community, to the people that turn in the applications in.
Okay.
It's online. You download it and fill it out.
So anyway, also the Sheriff's Department indicated they were going to work with houses of worship for added safety and security. And somebody had some comments about Castaic traffic, but we discussed traffic. There's traffic everywhere. For homelessness, the discussion about homeless and mental issues was that new outreach services group has been increased from 1 to 11 deputies. Now, still 11 deputies is not a humongous amount compared to the size of the problem, but it's headed in the right direction. And as Captain Lewis said, it is integrated with Santa Clarita Valley deputies, and I know Deputy Shackelford myself, and she's a very, very competent individual. The homeless encampment policy here in well, I guess this is countywide. 5 or more people is considered an encampment, and anybody can identify a particular encampment. You don't have to wait for the Sheriff's Department to do it. If you want to call in and report where an encampment is, you have that ability. And their goal is to perform an assessment of that encampment within 48 hours to make a decision about what they were supposed to do. Their assessment and action process for that includes the identification, the assessment of the issue, outreach to try to alleviate the problem, not just incarcerate the people as we talked about with the JTeam, and I have some pictures of the JTeam here in a minute. Then post-outreach to follow up, which is important. You can't just go out there and talk to somebody and then not follow up. And then, of course, cleanup activities. And some of that funding for those 11 people are coming from Measure H. So at least some of that money is going to a worthwhile cause. The sheriffs indicated that they would enforce both bicycle and pedestrian traffic laws. And by the way, that works both ways. That works from the standpoint of enforcing it where vehicles are intruding on people crossing the street and pedestrians, or where bicycles are not following the rules of the road. There was also a discussion of the use of crime mapping, and you heard that just a few minutes ago. That is to be able to go look at where crime is occurring or where we believe the hotspots are and go after them. Yes, Doug.
The bicycle law, did the city of Santa Clarita declare it legal to ride a bicycle on the sidewalk? Because I see a lot of bicycles on the sidewalk.
Yes, unfortunately they did that. But it's not only a problem with motor vehicles intruding on the space of bicycles and pedestrians, it's a problem where bicyclists or pedestrians don't follow the rules of the road, or where you're driving down the street and you see someone in the middle of the block come darting out because they want to cross it. So they're going to be looking in both directions for either vehicle infractions or for other infractions. And we were told there was a new emergency vehicle center by Castaic and I-5. That's pretty much what my impression was. I thought it was a well-run meeting, productive meeting. I hope the sheriff provides more of them. Questions asked indicated many important concerns, and like I said, I didn't put in any. I just knew that the questions I asked were going to be asked by someone else, and they were. And it might have been better if in some cases they took questions from the audience, but they decided that's not what they were going to do. But it makes me even more appreciative of Captain Lewis in providing public outreach around our community. I always know if there's a hot button issue, I can ask this gentleman, and he will come out and talk to us. And that's even better than any sheriff captain we've had to date. So I want to thank Captain Lewis for that.